Good afternoon to all who are joining. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar. We'll just give a few minutes for everybody to jump in before we get started, but definitely wanted to say welcome and thanks for joining. All right, still seeing the list growing right now, so we'll give a few more minutes for everybody to get on. But again, if you haven't heard the sound of my voice yet, thank you for joining and welcome to our webinar Wednesdays for today.
A good group, almost up to 50. I'm getting nervous here.
Yeah.
It's a big audience today.
Don't be nervous.
Nah.
All right, we'll give one more minute. We'll start at 5 after the hour. Hopefully everybody's having a good day and a good week so far. We're halfway through, a little more than halfway through if you're on the East Coast. All right, I have got 5 after the hour, so I'm guessing we'll be okay to go ahead and kick this off. Um, Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Webinar Wednesdays. Today's webinar is going to be focused around a couple of security features, some good user experience things. We'll go into it in a lot more detail in just a couple minutes. I'll jump in. My name is Harvey Green. I am one of the solutions architects here at XenTegra. I'll talk more about me on an intro slide as well, but thank you very much for joining us today. Stephen, you can go ahead and hit the next slide, sir. We are, if you haven't looked, seen, or heard already, we are doing a Work Has No Boundaries sweeps. Well, I won't call it a sweepstakes, but a contest, some sort of, we're giving away a Bronco. How about that? Forget the legalese or the terms and definitions. We're giving away a Bronco. We're actually giving it away next month, which is great. And we'll do that will be the 2022 giveaway. We actually are also planning to do a 2023 giveaway as well. So you can check out XenTegra.com. We'll have more information about the one we're giving away and the contest for next year. So definitely hit up XenTegra.com, get some good info out there, and hopefully win yourself a car. I'd love to have a test drive with you if you're the winner. So we'll talk a little bit about who is XenTegra here. So XenTegra is a value-added reseller, very much a concentration on value added. We do a lot of events, a lot of learning, a lot of webinars, workshops, things like that, like the one you're on today. Again, thanks for joining us today. We have a premium on education. So we do a lot to make sure our customers and future customers are educated with what's going on, what's out there and available to them, and how it can help them. We also offer professional services, and that is in the form of having a very big consulting team who's got varying experience around a bunch of different technologies. We also do managed services, and we also do hosting services. So a lot for you to take advantage of from the services platform here. And we've got plenty of offerings around there, so hopefully we'll hit where you need. From a solution standpoint, we're very much solutions oriented. So we pride ourselves on being end to end. So everything from the data center, whether it's in your data center or in a public cloud like data center, all the way down to your end users and their endpoints and what they're using as well. So go ahead, Stephen, sorry.
Oh no, it was my fault. I
So
clicked too soon.
intro slide here, I guess. I'm Harvey Green, and yes, I'm the third. I kind of adapted the title to wearer of many hats. I am a solutions architect for XenTegra. I also run this XenTegra Gov business, so focused around SLED and Fed, state and local government, education, K through 12 and higher ed. So lots of things going on for me all the time, but still make sure that we make the time to do things like the webinars today, and make sure that we're getting out knowledge, make sure we're talking to everyone, answering questions, and hopefully bringing new technologies to bear in front of you. So as the slide says, I am located in Fort Mill, which is basically Charlotte. And have been in the industry for over 20 years at this point, which makes me feel old, but not as old as the conversation we were having before the webinar, where we were talking about things like Saved by the Bell and Family Matters and all of those other shows. So
Which,
super fun.
by the way, Harvey, now we have to refer to that as classic TV.
Don't do that.
So
I guess that's not as bad as what might be later on when we say it's classical TV. So also got on here with me Mr. Stephen Turner. Stephen, go ahead and let the people know a little bit about who you are besides watcher of TV.
Yeah, I actually there's a picture of your founder and CEO,
Yeah,
and some more
that's
about
not you.
XenTegra. That's not me, but this is me. My name is Stephen Turner. I am a senior solutions architect for a company called Cloud Harmonics, which is an Ingram Micro company. And we are actually the preferred distributor for Okta. And what we basically do at both Cloud Harmonics and at Ingram Micro is we try to be a value-added distributor, basically. We try to fill in the little gaps that our partner of ours, such as XenTegra, have regarding certain technologies. Now, today we're going to be talking about Okta. I have spent the last 3 or 4 years now with Okta being a primary part of my job. I am an Okta certified professional. I am an Okta certified administrator, and I am an Okta certified consultant. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how to prepare your remote workforce for success using Okta. I'm going I'll be doing a short little demo as well, but we have a few slides. Anything else you want to add, Harvey, before I get going?
Yeah, you're so nicely saying that I went out of order, and I did.
Oh, you want to?
But yeah, thank you for that. And again, this will kind of end up closing some of the those Integra pieces. But this is a picture, as Stephen talked about, of our founder and CEO Andy Whiteside. Uh, his his quote here is the XenTegra business model is simple, build a community and then create solutions that service that community. And we do a lot of that here as well. Just making sure that, we are pulling together not just the technologies, but the people who are actually using them as well, so that as we get more into it, we have other things, user group meetings, things like that, where we get people together and kind of build a community where you guys can talk not just about how XenTegra is to work with, but also about the technologies you use, the way you're using them, the use cases, because ultimately, a lot of us are trying to solve the same problems, although sometimes, we solve them in different ways or have other things that come into play, with solving those problems, like, very old software or software that someone else wrote or things like that. So again, talking through here, we like I said before, we do offer consulting services, we do offer managed services. One of the things we also do is some complimentary assessments. We call them micro assessments. But we'll basically, at a basic level, you'll hop on with one of our engineers, our solutions architects like me. We'll walk through your environment. We offer, I think at this point, 9 different versions of these. But walk through, whichever technology it is we're looking at for you. Make sure that whatever is not laid out in best practices, or if we have recommendations, things like that, we'll lay that out for you and make sure that you get an actual deliverable at the end of it, where we lay out our recommendations and kind of go through those, and you can decide what you want to do from there. Choose your own destiny. You can ask us to help you fix it. You can ask us to do it for you. You can ball it up and throw it away, or you can say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, take this whole thing from me. So lots of different ways that we can proceed from there. But again, just want to make sure that you guys know our offerings, know what we can do for you. And hopefully we'll jump into, more deeper conversations. But again, today's topic is about Okta today. So Stephen, now that I'm done with my slides that I was out of order on, you take it away, sir.
I appreciate Harvey. Thanks, Harvey. Thanks, Andy. Thanks the whole XenTegra team for having us back today to talk about Okta. I like what Harvey said about choose your own destiny. It made me think of those choose your own adventure books
Oh,
that used to read those as a child of the 1980s.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I like that when
Uh,
you said choose
uh,
your own destiny.
I'll jump in and say one more thing before you go. I'm keeping my eye on both the chat and the Q&A for this session. So if you guys have questions or want to bring up anything, definitely type it into there. We are paying attention to it. And if I have to, I will interrupt Stephen to toss your question his way too. So uh, definitely, we want to make this as interactive as we can make it. So feel free to, send us notes or send us questions, and we'll make sure they get answered.
Appreciate that, Harvey.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about Okta. Like I said, thank you for having us back. So today's presentation it's really about securing the remote workforce. This slide says enabling large workforces, but that's not necessarily the case. It's kind of the stuff I'm going to talk about really, it doesn't matter, small, medium, large, or huge enterprise, really doesn't matter anymore. But one of the things, especially the last, I mean, we're now over 2 years. There's been a lot of back and forth, I'm sure, in many organizations with members of management about working from home, not working from home, when to get back into the office, and all that. But one of the things Okta can really do is it can very easily and it can very securely help your teams, help your employees, and even your employees with partners or employees with contractors, all that, work together better as a team. Do that safely, do that securely. I don't know, kind of sick of hearing the term new normal, but it kind of fits a little bit. Here, as we see here, these are some interesting numbers from 2020. I expect that 38% is a little higher. A lot of what's been going on the last couple of months is organizations are kind of deciding what their new normal is really going to be when it comes to the distributed workforce. I'm going to talk a little bit about my company, actually, which is a company within Ingram Micro. So March 2020, everyone started working remote. It was really interesting because we kind of have two sides of the house at Cloud Harmonics. We have the kind of the sales and distribution side. The vast majority of them worked in our office out of Austin, Texas. And then we had the solution services group that I work for. All of us were actually remote. So the Austin office locked down, everyone started working from home. And luckily, hey, one of the things we do is Okta. So we were able to really utilize Okta and make it very easy for everyone to get secure access to what they needed in order to really do their job, and do that in a really secure way. Now, of course, depending on the organization, working from home has gone quickly from a luxury to a necessity in many cases, and especially right from March 2020 and probably almost 2 straight years for a lot of places, work from home did become the new normal. And it was hard for some people, some organizations, to get used to how to do it. Some places embraced it. And, of course, your mileage might vary, but a lot of places, a lot of organizations turn to Okta to kind of enable secure access for their remote workforce. Now, there's some links on this slide and everything. I'm actually going to give you an ebook that I'll share in a little bit before the end, that actually goes through a lot of this information, and it's kind of what this presentation is actually based on. Now, at this point, right, we're what, it's May 2020. A lot of organizations have gone back to the office in some way. Some have decided that working from home is the right choice. Some have kind of gone to kind of a hybrid approach. But it's important to have the applications and have the services needed for remote access that are not just easy for the users to get to, but also is it easy for the IT staff to support? At the same time, you always got to think about security. And Okta does a big push toward the idea of it's a zero trust solution. And it's a great choice to kind of be your first step if you're going to a zero trust architecture, or you're thinking about moving to more of a zero trust approach. Now, as part of my job, I actually talk about the idea of zero trust multiple times a week, if not multiple times a day. You can't just buy zero trust in a box. I'm sure Harvey and some of the people at XenTegra will tell you the same thing. You can't just buy a zero trust appliance. You
No,
can't just get one white paper and there you go. You
no.
got zero trust, right? I mean, it's not that easy. Zero trust, it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy. It's a general idea of the general idea really is that you don't explicitly trust anything at all and you verify everything. And this idea that a lot of us, I'm going to guess, I'm just going to guess, um, Harvey's had the same experience, right? Back in the old days, I don't know how old, but back in the old days, it was very much you had a firewall, everything inside the firewall was good, everything outside the firewall was bad. Can't do that anymore, right? We can't do that anymore, Harvey.
You
Things are
cannot.
everywhere. People are everywhere, right? That's what we're talking about here. But what if we can no longer do this idea of perimeter-based security? What do we do? What do we base our security on? Identity. That's what Okta is all about. Identity access management. It's about identity. It's about being able to make security policies based on identity and make people actually verify their identity with things like multi-factor authentication. And then at the same time, allowing them to use a single identity and their proven verified identity to get to the stuff they need to do their job and make that easy. And when I say make it easy, not just for the employees, right? For the support staff, for the management. And now it's not necessarily also about access too. Okta has this great, relatively new technology. They call it workflows. It's part of their lifecycle management SKUs, their lifecycle management products. What this allows is it takes care of your joiner, your leaver, and your mover events. What do I mean by that? Onboarding or offboarding employees, right? You have someone join the organization, bam, you get them into Okta. Okta can act as the middleman, create their Office 365 account, create their their Zoom account, their Salesforce account, whatever. If they leave the organization, you can basically deactivate them in Okta, and then Okta actually deprovisions them and all that other stuff. The mover event, someone, and I've seen this a lot. I've seen this a lot with like financial institutions that have helped set up Okta, banks and things like that. A lot of times they're promoting within, a teller becomes a loan officer or something like that. And they're going to need different access. They're going to need access to different applications and all that. Well, Okta's lifecycle management and their workflows can help facilitate that, where they go into another role and there's different access they need, or there's different applications that they need on their single sign-on dashboard. So workflows is a great way to completely automate that process, and you're actually it's codeless, really. It's very much a drag and drop. And I'll actually do I'll show a little demo toward the end, a little bit about workflows. So businesses, a lot of this stuff is from numbers from 2020. Businesses are already adapting to that new remote workforce. Zoom, as you can imagine, I know we probably all Zoom. A lot of people Zoom fatigue became a big word, a big phrase come about the beginning of 2021, right? But Zoom was the fastest growing app in the Okta integration network. I'll talk about the Okta integration network in a little more detail later. I'll kind of show you how anyone can actually access it and look it up. It's basically it's the Okta integration network is think about it as like a catalog of apps and services that Okta has vetted, right? Has tested, has documented, and verified that are basically ready to go right out of the box. Now, if an app or service is not in the Okta integration network, don't think you're completely out of luck. It's actually really, really easy to kind of add custom integrations with Okta to make Okta work with authentication or provisioning and all that. Another thing, and Okta is still really the its number one integration since almost the beginning is actually Office 365, Microsoft 365, whatever you want to call it, including of course Teams. So Zoom, Teams, very, very popular when it comes to the main kind of collaboration applications that are used out there. So productivity and security. Now, if anyone's ever heard of Okta before, and the word is actually, I get this a lot. What does that word Okta come from? It's actually a weather term. It has to do with cloud cover in a given location, is I guess measured in Okta, in octas. But if anyone's heard about Okta before, they usually think of stuff like multi-factor authentication and single sign-on. And yes, you can use Okta's powerful single sign-on and MFA, multi-factor authentication, and their policy engine to protect access to your apps and services and data. Let's face it, data. I mean, cybersecurity. What is cybersecurity? It's protecting the data. I had an old boss who always mentioned that, and I'm like, it's the best way to kind of describe what the heck cybersecurity is. It's protecting your data, right? Okta does a good job of at the same time securing, though, reducing friction, making it easy for the user, and making it easy for the admins and the support staff. And Okta has tight integrations with the big players when it comes to productivity, right? Citrix, Microsoft, VMware. When it comes to security as well, they're there, right? Integration with Zoom. Once again, Microsoft 365 is a big one. So your bases are basically covered when it both comes to the idea of productivity and security. Speaking of productivity, right? Let's talk about productivity a little bit. You know, make it easy for your users to communicate. See, I'm having a problem communicating right now. Communicate, collaborate, and create together. Right. I think my company, I think it's amazing when I talk to people in my own company and the way they use a lot of the tools we're kind of mentioning here to communicate and to collaborate and to create. I mean, our marketing team, not a big marketing team at Cloud Harmonics. Keep in mind we're a business unit within Ingram Micro, but our marketing team is two people, right? The director in who's in North Carolina, and an associate who lives in outside of Austin, Texas, right? And they are able to collaborate and create amazing looking things, amazing graphics, amazing amazing selling tools for our sales department. And it comes down to make this stuff easy for them, right? Make things intuitive. I think Okta does a really, really, really good job of doing that and making it relatively easy for people to to get into these tools. At the same time, it's your central identity access management system where you can create security policies. And it's basically, you can create this idea of one book, and one book of policies, right? For just about, for really just about everything. And that goes more into security, right? This goes into security a little bit with, and um I see something in the chat there. I just want to let everyone know I do not work directly for Okta. Anything regarding the Okta breach, I'm just directed to have you go to okta.com or support.okta.com. I'm afraid I'm not really allowed so much to address it. I have my
Yeah,
opinions, but
I'm actually
whatever.
sticking the information that Okta released out for everyone in the chat.
Yeah, I will say, it does seem they weren't as transparent as they could have, but, and that was very surprising to me because Okta in the past has been very good about being transparent about how their systems work and things like that. So but we've always had a good relationship. We've always had a good relationship with Okta, and it does really help you secure your systems regarding the things that you need to communicate, to collaborate, and to create. And it's really, really scalable too, right? Like I said, it doesn't matter, small, medium, large. It really doesn't matter how big your organization is. Probably Okta can be a good fit for all of your identity access management needs to a really large extent. I love to talk about the integration with VMware, for example. Okta and VMware actually fit together in a lot of different places. You can use it for both authentication and for provisioning for a lot of the stuff from VMware. It just, same thing with Office 365. Very, very, very powerful system. You'll even notice here, the integration supports a simplified user experience, even passwordless. Let's talk a little bit about passwords. Okta has something they call their FastPass, right? If you're in cybersecurity at all, let's face it, passwords, passwords, a problem. They're a pain. They're, hey, heck, before I came to work for Cloud Harmonics, I was the network manager of a school system, of a school district. And everyone, hey, what's your password for this? What your teachers would be, everyone, and it's understandable. They were trying to make things easy. Oh, what's your password for that? Can I use your account for that? All that, right? Passwords are not great. Okta has a system they call FastPass. It can combine with a device's biometrics to basically allow authentication into everything that's needed to get work done. You can minimize user friction with this if done right, while still enforcing those security policies, right? Passwords, they really should be yesterday's news, right? And Okta can be a big help moving you toward a passwordless future. One of the things that's always impressed me about Okta, though, is Okta wants you to be able to bring what you have and integrate it with Okta. I use that word a lot when I talk about Okta, integration, right? For example, you do not have to use Okta's FastPass system. If there's another passwordless approach you want to go with, chances are Okta is going to be able to support it. That includes things that support FIDO2. That includes things like YubiKey. YubiKey is very, very popular, right? Hardware-based keys. This is a YubiKey NFC that both works as plugging into USB or near field communication. Okta can actually be the native support for Okta. I should say native support for YubiKey in Okta. And then there's some great companies out there that are doing passwordless authentication, and they can be integrated with Okta, or you can go with Okta's FastPass system that utilizes Okta's Verify app. So another Palo Alto Networks, but a lot of other great security and remote access solutions integrate very well with Okta. I bring up Palo Alto Networks. We use it at Cloud Harmonics. When I connect to the VPN, I get a push notification sent to my phone that I'll actually show a little bit. I'll actually show a little bit about the experience with Okta Verify as part of the little demo I'm going to do. But works great with other VPN solutions, other remote access solutions, and primarily most of these solutions will support Okta with either doing a SAML, or you can even do radius. So Okta is almost entirely, it is a cloud-based service, right? You can't really get on-premises Okta. But Okta does have these connection pieces that you can have on premises. For example, one of the things you can do is you can run a small radius agent on a appliance or a server inside your organization that acts as a radius server that actually connects to your Okta instance. So you can actually use Okta for radius authentication. It's just amazing. And if you do have other things, other remote access solutions that support the SAML protocol, for instance, Okta's gonna have you covered. So I say enterprises, but once again, you know, not so much based on size. It's been a strange now going on, what, 2.5 years. It's been strange. At the very beginning of the, I don't know, the very beginning of the strangeness, Okta customers were able to react quickly. They were able to spin up solutions to support whatever they were doing, whatever they needed to do to support the securing and the access of their remote workforce. Okta, very scalable, very flexible, very, very stable. It is primarily based on Amazon Web Services, but they've learned the last few years that Amazon Web Services seems maybe twice a year has a little issue. Okta has actually put things in place to even make sure that if AWS kind of has a problem, Okta doesn't. So speaking of Okta, I'll do a little demo here of, let's say I'm a guy and my company uses Okta, and I'm coming in in the morning, or I should say I'm logging in the morning, and I got my coffee and I'm going to my home office or kitchen table or whatever. I'm lucky. I have a room in our house that's full of toys and 80s crap that I call my home office. So I do this every morning. I sit down, I log into Okta. So I'm gonna log in Okta here, and hey, last week was May the 4th, and get to do a little Star Trek theme. So let's say I'm Wicket the Ewok. So my username is wicket.ewok, and I'm gonna log in. And I have based on my organization's kind of multi-factor authentication choices, I have been presented with having to do something to prove my identity besides my username and password. Let me show my phone here. I've got an application called I've got an application here called Air Server that I like to use. And I have Okta Verify on this. By the way, there are many, many different factors that you can use with Okta. Like I said, I even mentioned things like YubiKey. You can do SMS, things like that. I'm going to send a, I'm going to say send a push notification to my Okta app. And what happens is notification comes up and said, hey, did you just try to log in from this actually location of my VPN? But I say, yes, it's me. And I could also enter a code with the Okta Verify app. I deal with a lot of Okta instances. I have many demos. I have access to like Okta's partner portal that protects with Okta. But the Okta Verify app does support the idea of push. And that's what we've done right here. Let me stop the mirroring on my phone. And here I am. I've logged into Okta and I have everything I need to do my job right here. Wicket has everything he needs to do his job. For those not familiar with Star Wars, Wicket was one of the cute little Ewoks, the teddy bears from Endor that viciously killed many, many stormtroopers. But anyways, enough of that. Wicket now has access to what he needs to do his job. Oh, trying to check the email. Office 365 integrates real well. This is just, yeah, whatever. And bam, I get to check my email. Now, how did that work? Well, it worked because of this idea of federated authentication. Now, I'm not going to get too much into it, but when we're talking about single sign-on solutions, the idea of federated authentication is uses things like SAML. With Microsoft, they call it WS-Fed. But the idea is that Okta is the identity provider for your Office 365 instance. So your Office 365 instance actually trusts Okta as the identity source, the identity provider. So there's basically these back and forth messages that go on saying, oh, Wicket's verified all that. It's okay. Let Wicket actually get into the Office 365 system and all that. Now, regarding provisioning, that's actually really, really popular with Okta as well. Utilizing Okta to actually provision users into Office 365. It's a lot. I've done it a few times myself. I've implemented it. It works really good, and you have a lot of choices. Okta makes it really, really easy to provision Office 365 users, to provision the roles and the licensing and everything. And then when someone leaves, Okta can kind of automatically deactivate them and all that. So if I go back to my dashboard here and get into my Salesforce and all that, so an admin can actually assign these Okta used to call them chiclets. Another thing from the 80s. I remember chiclets, the little gum. Okta calls these little squares, or they used to call them chiclets. And you click one of the, you click them and you're in them, is the idea here. And it's the great thing about single sign-on, right? I verified my identity. I verified my real identity, in this case, Wicket's real identity. And he's able to get to what he needs to do for the day. Now, what can also be done is some self-service here, and this makes it easy for the IT staff. As a user, I can go in here, I can do things like I can change my password. There's a whole flow for if you forgot your password. There's a whole flow for unlocking a user. You have multiple options, like I said, for multi-factor authentication. This can also, to a large degree, I don't like to say that Okta can be I don't necessarily like to use the term password manager, but by default, and this can be turned off, but by default, I can actually add my own applications. As a regular user, I can actually add my own applications into my Okta dashboard. For example, let's say I take a break once in a while and I want to watch some Stranger Things. I can add my Netflix account, and this actually gets added to my apps. And what happens is, first time I try to do it, it says, okay, put in your username and password. My username and password are then hashed and encrypted and kind of linked to my Okta identity in the Okta instance, in the secure Okta instance. So this works in conjunction with something called the Okta browser plugin, that then once I put that information in and it's in Okta, when I come back to Netflix, I can use the Okta browser plugin, and Okta will basically insert the username and password into the web form for Netflix. Now, why do I bring that up? And this technology can also be used for applications that don't necessarily support the idea of federated authentication. So Okta calls this technology that utilizes their Okta browser plugin. They call this SWA, or Secure Web Authentication, SWA for short. So basically allows Okta to be used to a large extent with absolutely everything. And I just think that's kind of nice. Hey, I can add my Netflix account. Like I said, that idea of users being able to add their own stuff in Okta, that can actually be removed. Let me log off as Wicket, and let me sign on as an admin, because there's some other cool stuff. There's some admin stuff I kind of want to show. And here's an example. You notice I wasn't prompted for multi-factor authentication. So I do this example because I can create these granular policies, these granular security policies when it comes to things like multi-factor authentication. I can have it that someone in a certain group isn't required to do multi-factor authentication to access Okta or one of the applications that Okta is federated with or connected to. So that was an example here. You notice I logged in as a different user, but then if I want to do something like get to the admin instance, I will be prompted for my multi-factor authentication. Now, this also comes in useful for situations like, let's say you want to have policies where someone that's coming from a certain IP address, let's say they're on an internal subnet. Maybe they're not prompted for MFA for certain things, or maybe there are different access requirements for people that are on the corporate subnets versus not. You can do that easily with Okta. Now, if I click admin right here, I will be prompted. So now I've associated my device also with my admin account here. I say, yes, it's me, and I get put into the Okta admin dashboard. Now, some of the cool things here are, I've got a dashboard that can tell me things like, yeah, we got a user locked out, or we might have some problems with application provisioning. Application provisioning, and I could spend hours just talking about application lifecycle management when it comes to provisioning users into into Okta, or I should say into other applications from Okta. Okta has their workflows. These workflows are codeless, kind of drag drop, and they got some great stuff here on built into Okta and also at Okta's support site. There's this drag and drop console where you can actually create these workflows of, if you've got a new person, right? Give them a Salesforce account and give them an Office 365 account. And let's say you're integrated with Active Directory and you're using Active Directory still as your main source of truth. If they're in the sales department, if their attribute in Active Directory or another directory says sales, you know, give them these applications, or if they're in IT, give them these applications and give them that kind of access. All can be easily done with the workflow console. So really, really neat. Like I said, this is part of the lifecycle management system of Okta. Now, one of the things I also wanted to show is I wanted to show a little bit about the Okta integration network. Really, really easy to get to. Okta.com/integrations. Let me put that in the chat right there. Also, let me give the ebook that this presentation is actually based on, the Okta ebook that this is based on. Let me actually give you all the cannot share files here. I think I have a link actually for it too. Let me get that for everybody. Where is it? Where is it? I did have a link there. Yeah, I thought I had the link there. I'll find it actually a second. But there's actually a really good there's a really good Okta that I've based the presentation on. It's Okta's remote work ebook, and I could probably just Google it really quickly and give you all the yeah, here it is right here. One of their great white papers. Here's the link right here. And a lot of the stuff that I went over is actually based on that and the associated toolkit. But back to just okta.com/integrations. This is where you can see that Okta integration network. Now, one of the big things Okta touts is they are very, very quick to deploy, right? Quick to deploy. The time to value is very low. Right? It's easy to get things going. Now, you can easily see if something's in the integration network by searching for it. You see some of the top apps listed right here, Office 365, Salesforce, for example. You can click on them and you can see what is supported regarding things like authentication and provisioning. Salesforce.com, a lot of stuff is actually supported here. So this is a public website. You don't have to have an Okta instance. If you do want to mess around with Okta, hey, just Google Okta 30-day trial and get a 30-day trial of Okta. You see it right here as well, free trial with Okta. You can talk to some of the great people at XenTegra as well about getting into Okta, of course. All right. So that being said, you're all getting a little bit of Grubhub, right? We'll mention this at all, Harvey, or
we've got Kathy on to work through that piece of it. Actually, Miss Kathy, are you here with us? Can you hear us?
but everyone's getting
All
some
right.
Grubhub.
Yes.
And then a call to action now. We got some good stuff. If you can set up demos with for Okta. We have some giveaways that we're going to give. We're going $250 Amazon gift card. So if you can line up some demos, if you can line up a demo, request your Okta demo to marketing@XenTegra.com. They'll get you going with the right people, and we can present an Okta demo. You can ask more questions, get into stuff. I kind of do, I can demo and demo and demo, but we're getting kind of low on time. So I just wanted to show kind of a couple of highlights when it came to demoing Okta a little bit. And I see we're whoa, perfect timing. It's 1:56 here on the East Coast, huh? So do you have any unanswered questions, Arby?
I don't right now, believe it or not. Either everybody is extremely smart or extremely shy.
Or I'm extremely smart and I just explained it so well. But I don't like to toot my own horn, but well, it's been once again, thank you so much to Harvey, Andy, and the XenTegra team for having us back.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely happy to have you back, and we'll do it again.
We'll talk some more Saved by the Bell and Family Matters.
Right.
I miss the 80s. It was like there was just enough technology in the 80s, I felt. It's like, we had ATMs and like banking worked, and it seemed like checking out at like Walmart in the supermarkets wasn't too bad. I
Yeah.
don't know. I miss the 80s. That's why my home office is just full of my great memories of the 80s, like Transformers and Star Wars. And Star Wars started in the 70s and went until now, but
Yeah. Well, definitely thanks to everybody who joined us today. I see a lot of thank yous coming in, so you're very welcome. But absolutely reach out if you have questions, if you want to go through things more, set up a demo. We're very willing and able to help you with that. And again, definitely thank you for joining us today to get some knowledge.
thanks all. Oh, Grubhub vouchers will be emailed you out until 11:50 to use them. I assume that's Eastern time.
Yes, that is Eastern time.
As I like to call it, as someone who is from New England, I like to call it real time. No other time matters. It's where New York is. It's where Washington is. It's where Boston is. It's where Charlotte is. It's where Miami is. It's the only time zone that matters. I'm sorry.
They're hungry people. So I'm just going to delete this person who's got the wrong phone number in. So that's the only way I can do this.
You can just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for their telephone number.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Miss Kathy, it seems you've come to join us. Can you hear me okay?
I'll just put them maybe.
Oh.
Okay. So I need to do my
I
Grubhub.
guess not.
Oh, she's doing the Grubhub, so that's good.
Those working through the Grubhub.
Those will be emailed to everyone. So.
Yep. Thanks again for joining us today. Definitely look forward to hosting you again.
Oh, invite us back anytime.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, Harvey.
absolutely. You guys have a wonderful day.